Good evening. A 42-year-old female from Manchester is the latest victim to die of the COVID-19 virus. Now, the death of the woman is the lone COVID-19 related fatality on record for yesterday, January 14, and takes the overall coronavirus death toll in Jamaica to 323. There were, however, 2 deaths involving COVID-19 patients that are currently under investigation, and 2 fatalities classified as coincidental. In the meantime, the country recorded 77 new COVID-19 cases and 38 recoveries within the same period. The 77 newly confirmed COVID-19 cases takes the total of cases on record for the island to 13,992, with 38 recoveries, meaning that 11,630 persons have now recovered from the virus in Jamaica. Of the newly confirmed cases, 46 are females and 31 are males, ranging in age from 19 days to 92 years. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew with 44 cases. St. Thomas and St. Elizabeth both recorded 7 cases. St. Catherine recorded 6 cases. St. Mary, 4 cases. Clarendon and Manchester both recorded 3 cases. And St. Anne and Trelawney, 1 case each. There are 18 moderately ill and 8 critically ill patients among the 1,876 active cases now under observation in Jamaica. Meanwhile, Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton earlier today met with senior staff at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Mount Salem, St. James. Now, in speaking with our news team, Dr. Tufton outlined that this first meeting for 2021 was to speak with the heads of departments to assess work being done and the progress of renovation at the hospital.
Here in St. James, which I am normally, I'm here to meet with the senior staff, first meeting of the new year of the leadership of Cornwall Regional Hospital, so all the unit heads, to give them an update as to what is happening in terms of the work on the ground, to hear from them in terms of their own concerns, any concerns that they may have, and to basically continue the coordinated effort to provide a service even while we have an active construction site. And there is a general consensus around the commitment to do the work to serve the people of St. James and its environs, even with some of the issues that they have to confront each day, and I really have to lift my hat and pay them tribute. You know, I remain proud of the team because Cornwall Regional, as a clinical service provider, has not budged in terms of those services. And again, I keep saying to people, we must make the distinction between the building and the service provision.
The Health and Wellness Minister also spoke about his meeting with the leadership of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, who have been a huge help during the renovation process at the hospital.
I also had a meeting with the Seventh-day Adventist leadership in this part of the country, and we discussed the issues around the use of the facility. As you know, the church has been very, very instrumental in providing significant support to the people of St. James by allowing their main auditorium in this side of the country to be used as a health center, as a clinic, where hundreds go each day for treatment. And that discussion was good. We expressed our thanks, as usual, as a government, but also as a regional authority and as a hospital. And the response is usual. It is about a commitment or recommitment to cooperate, to work with the hospital and the people, because, you know, as was said by Pastor Samuels, it really is part of the ministry, part of his ministry, to help those who are less fortunate, in need. And you know, there is a lot of demonstration of that by just making the facility available.
Dr. Tufton further pointed out that he is not pleased with some of the delays and cost variations relating to the Cornwall Regional Renovation Project.
And I've been very open about those delays. I've been even as frank as to say that I'm not pleased with some of those delays because some of those delays could have been avoided. I've been as frank as to say that some of the cost overruns or the variations, to put another way, are variations that I would have preferred not to have. And I've been very frank to say that there needs to be a rethink based on an analysis of what has happened to date. And frankly speaking, Cornwall needs to be a teaching moment for all of us because there are plans to build several other hospitals, to renovate several others. And we have to take these lessons learned here on this facility to inform us on the way forward in terms of other renovations that are coming up, a new hospital that is to be built, maintenance and a maintenance schedule so we never ever get to the point where a hospital collapses, because that's what has happened as it relates to this building, because we would have seen the signs long before and we would have been routinely reviewing and managing never to be in a situation like this. So in the next week or so to go to cabinet with a proposal that will see recognize the achievements, because there have been achievements, it's not a total loss, but also recognize the shortfalls or shortcomings and make a recommendation as to how we can improve the process.
In other news tonight, Prime Minister Andrew Holness yesterday officially launched Jamaica's first ever coding academy through an Amber Heart NSDA Trust partnership. Students will undergo an intensive year-long residency training at the Stony Hill Heart NSDA campus with an internship component. There, they will work with seasoned developers on software development solutions. Upon the completion of the program, the graduates will be guaranteed jobs within the Amber Group. The Prime Minister said the Amber Heart NSDA Trust Coding Academy is a groundbreaking first step towards achieving the vision of positioning Jamaica as a technology and innovation hub.
What this coding academy is about, it is the first step. Now, Jamaica has had great experience in creating new industries. We've created a bauxite industry, we've created a tourism industry. Most recently, we have created a business process outsourcing industry. We are in the early stages of creating a logistics industry. This is the first tiny step in creating a coding industry. India, for example, the Ukraine, China, has very strong and robust industries in this area, particularly India. And Jamaica is well positioned to be a leader in this region in coding.
He also noted that the partnership on coding comes at a critical time as the world battles COVID-19, which has forced everyone to utilize technology.
So when the opportunity presented itself with Duchant having already placed his stake in the ground here in Jamaica and coding, and I've seen that coding firsthand when we have to make, for example, changes to the Jam COVID app because of some change in policy, and that is done overnight. And you're coding locally here and abroad, and you're bringing together at times, maybe 50 to 100 coders sitting down, analyzing the problem. For example, a situation may have occurred where we would have had to change protocols about people presenting a test to enter the country. That was not in the app before, and we would have had to pull all the resources together and figure out how do we tell the software to accept when you upload your negative test. And there's a lot of work behind that. So the people who are uploading their tests, they are saying, I'm going to use technology. I'll scan and upload the picture. But behind that, there's a whole lot of work. And it takes people who are trained to be able to tell the computers to recognize this and say, yes, this represents a positive, or this represents a negative, accept this or don't accept it.
Prime Minister Holness added that the Coding Academy will significantly improve the employability of citizens, particularly the nation's youth.
I'm very happy that we are at this point. We will have 100 coders trained. We are going to train our Jamaicans to be able to do this kind of programming. Now, if you stop just for a moment to think of this, the services that you could provide as a result of this, the benefit, exponential. Totally new industry providing new opportunities for young Jamaicans. We have tried it before in the past, but what is different this time? This time, we have mobilized the entire government behind creating what we call the digital society. Coding and the industry we seek to create is one element of that. There are other elements which we are doing. For example, you would have heard us through Minister Vaz in Parliament outlining the development of our broadband backbone and network for the country, which is very important. You would have seen the government being very forward-thinking in creating the National Identification System, which is not just about identity, it is also about all the structures that have to be in place to be able to capture identity, store identity, use identity for verification.
In other news tonight, the police are searching for a man that robbed a female security guard at gunpoint at the University of the West Indies Mona campus earlier this week. Reports coming into our news center tonight are that the man pounced upon the security guard at approximately 9 a.m. on Tuesday, brandished a handgun, and relieved her of a cellular phone, a tablet, and several other items. The Halfway Tree Police on Friday, that is, today, released a photo of the gunman obtained from security footage and are now appealing to members of the public to share information that can assist investigators to identify and arrest the suspect. Anyone with information that can assist the police to bring the perpetrator to justice should contact the Halfway Tree Police at 876-926-8184-5, Crime Stop at 311, Police Emergency 119, or the nearest police station. Still making news tonight, Mayor of Montego Bay and the Chairman of the St. James Municipal Corporation, Leroy Williams, during yesterday's council meeting, thanked members of the National Works Agency, NWA, the Jamaica Defense Force, JDF, and the Jamaica Fire Brigade for their assistance with last week's cleanup efforts. This following devastating flooding on the Long Hill Main Road and other communities in the parish.
That over the period January 8, January 7, January 8, as much as 40 millimeter of rain fell in sections of the parish, and this really severely damaged a number of areas. As a result of that, we had to do mobilization, and so we had to call on the National Work Agency, the Jamaica Fire Brigade, the JDF, National Solid Waste Management Authority. All these agencies responded and assisted in the cleaning up activities. And so I want to extend our profound thanks to these agencies who were able to respond. because there were areas where vehicular traffic could not access. And so they had to work for hours so that persons could get to their destination.
Deputy Superintendent of Roads and Works in the St. James Municipal Corporation, Saad Campbell, also gave an update on roads affected by the recent heavy rainfall with over $91 million in estimated costs.
We have the Wilshire area, our community, which our community was cut off based on the overrun of a drain in that area, and as such, we have rehabilitative work to ensure that the community can have access to the area. That is for $3.645 million. The Wilshire Main Road, in my estimation, is almost a complete loss, and we are at $60 million for rehabilitation. We have Mud Valley in Granville, and another small area at the intersection of Granville to Pit 4. So for cleanup and protective works, as I would like to term them, we're at $1.5 million. In Pellet Drive, for flankers, we have an area where the sill trap is filled, $236,000. The South Gully Catchment Basin for cleaning, $500,000. Green Park in Councillor Graham's division, we have about $24 million. In and around town, we had some small occurrences and deposits, and we are looking on $250,000. So we have Somerton, which is Orange and Moore Park, $340,000. Barrett Town, Spot Valley, Greenwood, $360,000. And the major drain within the Norwood community, $240,000. As well as another earth drain and catch basin in Providence flankers, amounted to $320,000. So the grand total, Your Worship, our Chairman, stands at $91,650,050.
Deputy Mayor of Montego Bay and Councillor for the Montego Bay South Division, Richard Vernon, asked that the Wales Pond Road be rehabilitated and used as a temporary bypass due to the recent flooding in the parish that damaged the roadways.
Well, in light of the recent developments due to inclement weather and flooding, I would like to serve a notice, a resolution to rehabilitate the Wales Pond Road so it can serve as a temporary bypass to the Long Hill route. As you know, we will have a major bypass, so in the interim, we can look at using Wales Pond as a road to go around that section.
Continuing with the news tonight, the Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, the Jamaica Labour Party's Juliet Holness, is advising the public that it's her understanding that the contract on the Gordon Town Road is in the final stages of approval by the Cabinet. Mrs. Holness says she fully understands the urgency of addressing the inconvenience caused to residents, while adding that she is doing all that is within her authority to hasten the process of easing this inconvenience.
We are currently at the stage of NAA sending for approval to Cabinet the selected contractor. I have been informed that they are now required to go through just infrastructure committee approval and is on the agenda for Cabinet for Monday. That is Monday coming. So just to reassure all the residents, everything is being done by all the requisite agencies and arms of government to have work on the Gordon Town breakaway moving as fast as possible.
The East Rural St. Andrew MP also gave an update on the Savage Pen roadwork project.
For those concerned about the Savage Pen Road, which we should have completed in December, asphalt plants right across Jamaica closed somewhere in the region of mid-December, somewhere about the 10th of December, many of them closed, and they open again mid-January. So as soon as the asphalt plants are up and running, work will recommence in completing the asphalting of the Savage Pen alternate route.
Now, the roadway collapsed in November of last year due to heavy rainfall associated with Tropical Storm Eta. The NWA estimated that it will cost up to $200 million to repair the breakaway. Mrs. Holness says she intends to work out the best and fastest response to resolving the issues arising from the damage. An additional 33 individuals now have certificates of titles from the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change. The certificates were presented to the homeowners in a ceremony held at the Knutsford Court Hotel today. Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the Portfolio Minister, Colonel Charles Jr., handed over the titles to the purchasers from Drewsland and Seaview Gardens in St. Andrew and Havana Heights in Clarendon. Now, upon receiving the titles, each recipient also received a tree seedling from the Forestry Department in keeping with the Ministry's 3 million trees in 3 years project. Now, in his address, Minister Charles Jr. pointed out the benefits of citizens holding titles to their lands, security of tenure, reduction in land conflicts, and access to financial credit and opportunities.
The delivery of the certificates of title in our vault at the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change is one of our primary objectives, for us to ensure that we get it out of the vault and into the hands of those homeowners so you can utilize it, so you can establish from it your security of tenure. And we understand the role that we have to play as a ministry in the improving of the lives and livelihood of our people. And certainly land registration is identified as a major driver of economic growth, but also very significant benefits flow from having that certificate of title. You will be able to use your title to access loans, to access formal credit. You will see the increase in the value of your land because you can establish ownership through that formal way. You have improved security of tenure, and it reduces, as was said by my colleague, any conflict that usually flows, where persons will say, well, it's my land, it's my cousin's land, it's my auntie's land. All of these stories go away because you form now part of the formal registration of title system in our country, where you can establish and protect your land from the possession from other persons.
He added that the significance of each individual receiving a tree along with their title is to highlight the importance of planting trees, and reiterated the government's plan to create a greener and more sustainable Jamaica.
Open to you that were previously closed. I encourage you to make use, take hold. I also urge you to take pride in and protect your investment by maintaining and improving your homes and your communities. And we're invested in your success. And so much so that in addition to your certificate of title that you will receive, we will present you with a seedling, one seedling for a tree from the Forestry Department. And we want you to care and nurture your tree and your environment. Each of us have a part to play, and we can slowly begin to reverse the damage that we have done to our planet and leave it in a better position. So today, you get not only your title, but you get an opportunity to help us in our efforts to plant a tree, protect our environment, and enhance our country.
While speaking at the ceremony, Prime Minister Holness pointed out that it is the aim of the government to increase the availability of housing solutions and for every Jamaican to own property through legal, fair, and accessible means.
Michael Manley was one of those politicians that addressed this issue of social injustice, particularly from the historic perspective, and giving people access to land, and giving the average Jamaican ownership of the country. And let me say that I am a firm believer in ensuring that every single Jamaican can have access to land. But hear me now. No more slave master run Jamaica. We run Jamaica. So when we are going to decide to improperly, illegally, and disorderly settle land, what we are doing is taking away land from ourselves, because we form the Jamaican independent modern state. So we have to take a different perspective on ownership now. What you must ensure as a citizen, as a resident, is that the politics of your country, the governments that you elect, and I'm not saying JLP or PNP, I'm talking now about your MPs, the people who form your government understand the issue of social justice and put in place the laws, the systems, and the practices that will allow every Jamaican equal opportunity to own assets.
He also stated that the administration is working to do away with informal settlements and squatting and provide safer and more affordable dwelling places for citizens.
What we are trying to do now is to increase the housing solutions so that people are less inclined to take up squatting as a solution to their habitation challenges. That program is underway. I met with some of our larger developers yesterday and gave the charge. And it is not just to build 70,000 expensive houses. We want to target most of that at the price point of $8 million or below, which fits into income situation of about someone earning $15,000 per week or less should be able to afford a house in that price range. And that's a target that we're having. But that's the maximum. The challenge, it's not so much the price point of 8 million. The challenge is the mortgage. If you get the mortgage at the right interest rate, then you can afford it. And that's what we're trying to do, which is a strategy now of ensuring that we have a structured system of mortgages available, keep the interest rates low, and get our developers into the affordable home segment of the housing development market to provide the houses. And I'm certain that persons like yourselves and others will take up those houses.
And those are the stories making news. I am Shelley Hill. We will now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.